Hey guys, today we'll be going over my ArcGIS project I used in JavaScript and HTML. It it's a weather mapping project. It displays a map and it displays the top 1,000 cities and the current weather along with the other information for each of those cities. So to start things off, we'll look at the final product. It should pop up the browser and we can see, gives a couple seconds, we see America and we see a bunch of dots everywhere with different colors, and it loads in and loads in a couple seconds, and then we can scroll in, we can do what we want, and we can click like Havasu. It tells us the conditions, the high, the low, and the current. um, we can do it for the top 1,000 cities, so it doesn't matter what we click, it shows the current conditions for whatever city we want. So yeah, this is a pretty fun project. um, we'll dive right into the code. So the HTML is just standard HTML header, and it says that this is what we're going to want for the style sheet. We're going to want this as a JavaScript file, and also this map JavaScript file, which is right here. And inside of our body, we're just going to have a div. We're going to call it view div, and that's so in our JavaScript file, we're going to be able to put the map inside of the body. So yeah, very standard HTML stuff. That's just to set up our JavaScript file. So for JavaScript, we need to make some requirements, and these requirements are for the ArcGIS. We need a map, we need a map view, we need a graphic, and a graphics layer. And so we can see inside of our function, we have these things. The first thing we have in our function is just our map, which is a new map, and this is the style we want, just a topo vector map. We save that, and then we go and we make a map view. So the way ArcGIS works is that it's layered. We need a map, and then we need a map view, we need a graphic, and we need a graphics layer. So in order to get anything to work, we're going to need all these elements inside of our program. So our variable view is our map view, and we can see the container we want it in is the view div, which was our container here. So this is going to be inside our body, when we're viewing the map. Which map we want the map we just created up here. The center, I put in these longitude and latitude because this is just about in the center of America. I believe it's for Salina, Kansas. Zoom, if we put it really big, it would be really big, and really small would be really zoomed out, and so on. Here's our graphics layer, and then with our map, we're adding our graphics layer. And then this is the tricky part. I'll probably come back to this. Then we say city IDs for each. This is a for each loop in JavaScript. And so for each, and then we come up with a function for each item and index. This index is required parameter. We're going to create a new HTTP request, which is like a API call. So for each city ID, meaning for each one of these, for each line in this code, we're going to create a new API call. So with the API call, it's going to say if the status is 200 and the response is 4, meaning that it went through, it's successful. For each time we do that, we're going to create a variable that's a JSON variable. So the JSON we're going to get is going to be stored in this data variable. And then we can manipulate the data from there. We can say for city of data list. So each time we're running through one of these, we're going to get 20 different cities. These are the city IDs, and it pops open 20 different cities in each API call. So for each city of those 20 cities inside the list, we're going to create a point, and a point is what we're seeing here, just one of these dots. Then the longitude and the latitude are the information we're going to be getting from the data, which is the API call. And we can see we can parse through the JSON in a manner like this, which is pretty simple in JavaScript. Then we go on to different colors. These are based off of the degrees. This is in Fahrenheit. So if it's in between 80 and 70, then it's going to be this color, which is in RGB. And it's just a bunch of colors. I tried to make it more blue was cold, and more dark and red was hot, and so on. Let's see. This is a simple marker maker, or simple marker symbol. So What type of symbol? We get this from ArcGIS. This format, this dictionary looking format is what ArcGIS expects. So what type is it going to be? It's going to be a simple marker. What color is it? It's going to be whatever color, depending on what the degrees is. And then the outline is just going to be the outline color. And how big is the outline? Just one. So then point graphic, which is a new graphic, it's going to be, so right now, when we created these points up here, this is just for the code to know where the point is. This is for the logic. But without a graphic, this isn't going to be displayed to the user at all. So this point graphic down here is just for displaying. So where is it? It's where point is, where we created point earlier. What kind of symbol is it? Well, it's a simple marker maker, simple marker symbol that we created earlier. And this attribute city is for the next part. This next part is the pop-up template. And that means this window, when we click on it, it comes up with a pop-up window. No matter where we click, there's this pop-up window. So inside of here, the title is bold, and that's the name. So you can see Flagstaff is the title. And we can see the content, condition, and then weather 0 main. This is parsing through the JSON. And this is why we need attribute city. Without this, then this would not be, it would just be undefined. It wouldn't have any information in it. But we can see condition, it shows clouds because it's able to find it with this attributes tag. We can see the current temperature, we can see the high and the low. And we can see that we're again parsing through the JSON to get the information for all of these as well. And then we add the graphics layer, and that's pretty much it. All the rest we have to do is get the API call. So I kind of saved this API call for last because this is what a lot of the project was for me. So I originally got all of the data from the world's largest cities, and it ended up being over 10,000 different cities. And I realized that for openweathermap.org, I'm only allowed to make 60 API calls per minute. So I actually discovered that when I was going through a US cities text file. In that US cities text file, I ran 1,000, which we have now, which is 1,000 cities in America. And I got an email saying my account's been suspended because I've tried to run 1,000 API calls and my limit is 60. So because of that, I created some Python code. I put it in here just as commented out, just to show this is some code I was using. So this code right here, it took the file of the US cities. It didn't just have the cities in it. It also had like numbers. It had the state they were in. It had their population and stuff like that, and their zip code. So I used this Python code to generate a new file, which I said just the cities. And I formatted it in a way such that it would be user-friendly for the code. And then once I did that, I had to make a dummy account for OpenWeatherMap because I needed to do the API calls one more time to create 1,000 different city IDs. And this is because we can see this little tag right here inside of our API call of this group. I discovered this group tag, and what that does is it allows for multiple different JSONs to be produced at once. So if we punch this in, we can see what the JSON file looks like. But of course, we're going to have to replace this item with one of these lines. So let's just do this one. We can copy and paste this in place of item. And we have to get rid of this. And this should give us a JSON file. And for what? For Seattle, Denver, Washington, Boston. So this group ID right here, it allows us to get up to 20 cities at once. However, it, like we've been seeing, it requires these IDs. So I had to make this dummy file to create, make 1,000 API calls that just returned the IDs for each of these cities. And once I had the IDs, I created more code right here that produced the just the city IDs. And I put that in such a way where it is formatable for code. I believe this is the file. We can see it. Yeah. So this Python code generated this file, and we can see they have quotes around each one, commas in between, and commas at the end. So this makes for a great, I can copy and paste it right into my code. I tried to read from a file with JavaScript. That's probably the next thing I need to incorporate in this code, but it was a lot more complicated than other languages I'm used to. So for now, this is what's running the code. It's just a big copy and paste right there. But this idea of doing this group in this ID, it reduced my API calls to from 1,000 API calls every run to just 50. And that makes it so I can make it run at, 1 time per minute, and OpenWeatherMap is happy with me. So yeah, this is the code. This is the idea. It was really fun. I think it's really fun to work with such graphical user interfaces, and it's a lot of the modules made it easy, such as ArcGIS, and JavaScript runs so quickly when it makes API calls. It's just really nice. This was really fun. That's my project. Thanks for watching.